Zed and Maren Morris's song Make You Say. And welcome back. You're listening to the Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM. Well, you might recall we had Stephen Kho on the Country Viewpoint a week ago or so, the cybersecurity expert, informing us about all the latest scams that are making the rounds in Australia. We thought we'd continue pressing this issue because it's got a lot of attention around the country, a lot of concerned people everywhere, particularly those from within our listening base. So I thought I'd catch up with James Roberts. He's the General Manager for Group Fraud Management Services at Commonwealth Bank. And I started by asking him about how scams are evolving.
They definitely are evolving. And what's even worse is the volume of scams has increased. So the research is showing that as much as 1 in 4 people believe scammers contact them at least 6 times a week. So you're thinking about all those dodgy calls, dodgy SMSs. And if you step back and put that in perspective, that's 300 scam attempts per year. And naturally, Aussies are becoming more and more cautious about answering calls from unrecognized numbers and SMSs they weren't expecting.
Now, what are the new ways that some scammers are targeting Australians? Because as we highlighted just last week on this program, they are finding ways to really legitimise the threats that they are coming up with. So what are some of the new ways that people are inventing in order to dupe unsuspecting Australians?
Yeah, scammers they're definitely becoming more sophisticated, but they're leveraging technology a lot. So a lot of robocalls, mass SMSs, and one of the ones that's probably really applicable to your regional listeners that have businesses is false billing scams, which you might have heard called business email compromise. So that's when the scammer hacks either the business email or the customer email and changes the account payment details. So sadly, the customer then transfers the money thinking that they're paying their bill, but actually it's going to a scammer's bank account.
Is it, how prevalent is this currently in regional Australia, James? Do you have any further sort of statistics at all?
I don't have specific regional statistics to hand, but it's really significant. And maybe the less media news coverage there is of this, the lower the awareness. So potentially some of our regional Australians being potentially more at risk to this type of modus operandi. So
just in terms of consequences that might arise when it comes to being scammed, a lot of people will think, well, maybe it's just a one-off sort of transactional sum of money that I might even be able to recover with some luck. But I gather the consequences could be far greater in some instances.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, the financial impact can be huge, and I've seen families and businesses be destroyed by it. And maybe even worse, so is the scammers, after being successful in defrauding you, will often pretend to be part of a money recovery scheme to help you get your money back and scam you again. So massive emotional impact, massive financial impact. And, within CommBank, we're on a bit of a mission at the minute to introduce new technology to try and keep our customers' hard-earned money safe. So we've got a few recent announcements in the anti-scams world that we're pretty proud of.
James Roberts, a General Manager for Group Fraud Management Services at Commonwealth Bank. We're going to talk to him about what Commonwealth Bank is doing to try and alleviate all the stress that people can come under when they are scammed. That's coming up right after this short break here on the Country Viewpoint. I'll see you back here soon. Imagine Dragons with Love of Mine, and welcome back. It is the Country Viewpoint program here on Flow FM on a Tuesday afternoon. Well, we've been speaking with James Roberts. He's the General Manager for Group Fraud Management Services about how people are being impacted by the latest round of scams going on in Australia. I'll tell you what, they are very complex. There's all sorts of intricate ways in which people are being duped into paying large sums of money to scammers. So we'll go back to that conversation now to hear more about some of the safety measures that are being put in place by Commonwealth Bank.
Name check's a feature that we're releasing at the end of March, and it's perfect for helping reduce business email compromise. So imagine you've logged on to your internet banking and you're about to make a payment, and you enter the BSB and account details, but you don't know for sure that the name of the account that you're sending it to is in fact the right person. So what NameCheck does is, as you're paying, it presents an indication to you of whether the bank has seen people paying to that recipient in a name that's similar to that. So hopefully this can make a big difference to business email compromise scams. and stop mistaken internet payments as well.
All right. Now, tell us more about caller check. Is this a mechanism that's been introduced in order to try safeguard people a little more?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen on the news that there's been a lot of bank impersonation scams where someone calls up pretending to be from the bank and unfortunately socially engineers the Australian to give out their details and pay away money. So caller check is a method of knowing for sure that it's CommBank calling you. So when we call you, we will, if you are an app customer, we'll send you a message in the secure app to make sure that you know that it's actually us calling. And when you click on that message within the app, no need to answer any of those questions, those security questions that sometimes can almost feel like a scammer is calling you. So you know that you're speaking to a legitimate member of the CommBank team.
Certainly great for comfort of mind. We'll move along. Just give us some more advice as to how people should really aim to better protect themselves, because we know that scammers are just going to keep getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah. I mean, the first step is probably just to acknowledge that scammers don't discriminate. All of us are vulnerable to a scam at some point or other, old, young, male, female, etc. So my best piece of advice is to stop, check, and reject. The majority of scammers use some form of time pressure tactic to push you into something that you wouldn't ordinarily do. So, pause, stop, take your time, consider things carefully. And Australians are very polite people, but it is fine to hang up and call back the service provider on their customer contact number on their genuine website.
And I'm just a little concerned for some of those regional listeners. They might be a little more disconnected than the usual sort of hustler and bustler in the city, James. So when it comes to robocalls specifically, is there any reason why you should ever really receive a robocall in this day and age? Is it wise to just hang up straight away?
Yeah, I think my advice would be to hang up straight away. And often at tax submissions season, the robocalls pretending to be the ATO and requiring you to give a payment or be arrested are super common. I would hang up immediately, and if you want, call back the entity on their genuine number that you found on their website.
James Roberts lending us some of his time. He's the General Manager for Group Fraud Management Services. This is a really important issue. You're going to hear more and more about it. I guarantee you that, because with the way technology is just evolving at a rapid rate of knots at the moment, and the overly reliant nature of us Aussies on new technology just makes us more and more susceptible to being scammed. So we'll keep probing this. There's plenty more to come on the Country Viewpoint today. Stay tuned.